My name is Britney. And I learned that betrayal can look exactly like the Austin airport drop-off curb. Sticky with July heat. You'd think the most humiliating part of our congratulations family trip would be when my sister Rachel took my window seat. You'd be wrong. The most humiliating part is your mother, Linda, leaning across the passenger seat. Her sunglasses, a perfect, reflective shield. I couldn't get the big one checked. Honey, such a hassle. This is just easier. My suitcase. My entire life. She hands me a bus ticket. A one-way ticket. And a congrats card with a crisp $100 bill inside. My father, Thomas, just nods. He doesn't look at me. He puts the car in drive. The car turns the corner and is gone. I'm left standing on the concrete. A ghost they forgot to bury. I don't pick a direction. I just pick a bus that's leaving. The bus drops me in a part of Austin I've only ever seen from a highway overpass. My feet are numb. My phone is a useless black rectangle. The $100 in my pocket feels less like a lifeline and more like a timer. I find a room for rent on a street that smells like stale beer and fried onions. It's above a bar called the Rusty Nail. The sign flickers, promising tetanus. The landlord is a man whose t-shirt has given up. He doesn't ask for a deposit. He just wants the first week in cash. The room is small. The floor is sticky. The window looks at a brick wall. At night, the music from downstairs doesn't rattle the walls. It soaks into them. The bass line becomes my new pulse. The new standards. It's a palace. It has a lock that works. I open a small, stained notebook. The one I used to hide in my backpack. I'm the kind of girl who draws the things she can't find the words for. I write survival fund on an envelope and slide my remaining cash inside. It looks pathetic. The endurance I learn is a schedule. My alarm goes off at 4 a.m. First job, coffee shop barista. I learn to steam milk until it's perfect. To smile at people who look through me. To say, have a great day, like I mean it. I smell like burnt coffee and fake vanilla. My second job is from noon to 5. Hotel housekeeping. I clean up the lives of strangers. I scrub showers and change sheets that smell like other people's sleep. I am a ghost in a blue uniform. I'm paid in cash. $10 an hour. Under the table. My third job is from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Bakery dishwasher. This is the worst one. The air is thick with the smell of sugar, old sourdough, and industrial bleach. I scrub sheet pans until my hands are raw. My back screaming. The sound of the metal scraper on metal pans ringing in my ears. But I watch. I watch the night baker, a gruff man named Paul, move with a quiet focus. I watch how he handles the dough, how he scores the bread, how he pipes icing with a steady hand. He never speaks to me. I'm just the girl who cleans his mess. I get back to my room at 2:30 a.m. The bar downstairs is finally quiet. The silence in my head is deafening. This is the kind of loneliness that doesn't just make you feel alone. It makes you feel invisible. I scroll through my old contacts. My sister Rachel. My mother Linda. I type I'm safe and delete it. I type where is my suitcase and delete it. I type why and I delete that. 2. I've stopped crying. The rage I thought I'd feel isn't there. It's just this cold, all hollow space. I open my stained notebook. I don't write. I draw. I draw a cake with 5 tears, covered in sugar lace, so fine it looks like it would break if you breathed on it. I draw delicate, impossible flowers made of spun sugar. I design flavors I've never tasted. Rose water and pistachio, cardamom and citrus. I sketch these impossible, beautiful things in a room that smells like bleach and old beer, while a bar fight echoes up from the street. I draw because it's the only part of my life I can control. It's not much, but it's more than I had at the airport. It's a start. The endurance breaks when you finally find a person. For me, that person was Maya. She worked the morning shift with me at the coffee shop. Purple hair, faded to a kind of dusty lavender. A tattoo of a skeptical-looking jellyfish on her arm. And sarcasm so sharp it could cut through the morning rush. I was drawing on a stack of napkins during a lull. Lost in a design for a 3-tiered wedding cake. She slid into the stool opposite me. "New girl," she said. "You look like you fell out of a before picture in a witness protection brochure." I just looked at my hands, stained with coffee grounds. "Britney." She smirked. "Maya, I used to have dreams. Too. Then I realized caffeine pays better." She tapped the napkin. "That's a lot of drawing for a napkin. You good?" "Just messing around." "Ooh?" She squinted at the drawing. "That's a cake." "Right. Looks too complicated. Looks like it would cost more than my car." She took a picture with her phone anyway. "My friend thinks latte art is high art. This'll blow his mind." I didn't expect anything, but she kept talking to me. She'd bring me half a sandwich from her own lunch. She'd cover for me when I was 5 minutes late from the hotel job. She was the first person in 3 months who had looked at me like I was actually there. The second person was Paul. He owned the bakery where I washed dishes. He was a broad man with hands like flour-dusted bricks and a voice that sounded like gravel. He never said hello. He just grunted and pointed at the mountain of sheet pans. One night, he found my notebook. I'd left it on a shelf, and it fell open to a drawing of a complex sugar flower. I froze. I expected him to yell, to tell me to get back to work, to fire me. He just stared at the page. He didn't say anything for almost a minute. Then he looked at me. Really looked at me. With eyes that had seen too many 4 a.m. shifts. "You draw this?" I nodded. My throat tight. He grunted. "It's not bad. The structure's wrong. You need support dowels for that kind of weight." I just stared at him. He sighed, wiping his hands on his apron. "You're a good dishwasher. Britney. You're quiet. You're fast. But this?" He tapped the page. "This is a waste of paper if you don't know how to use butter." I don't have a kitchen. Or ingredients. Paul looked around the massive, quiet bakery. The ovens were off. The steel tables gleaming. "I do." He pulled a key off his belt loop. "My kitchen is empty from midnight until 4 a.m. You're already here. You make a mess. You clean it. You break something. You pay for it. And you use my ingredients. You use the scraps." Got it. I couldn't speak. An adult had just offered me something without a but attached. I just nodded. So I added a 4th job, from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. After my dishes were done, I practiced. I learned on scraps. I learned how to temper chocolate, how to make a stable buttercream, how to work with fondant. My hands, which were raw from bleach, learned a new kind of patience. I cried. The first time I made a perfect rose out of sugar. I cried so quietly. The big industrial mixers didn't notice. For Maya's birthday, I spent a week's worth of tip money. I stayed up for 36 hours straight. I made her the cake from the napkin. 3-tier, black currant and lemon, covered in delicate, hand-painted black lace. When I brought it to the coffee shop, she just stared. Holy. She looked at me. "You made this. I thought you were just doodling." She took a dozen photos and posted them everywhere. The caption was pure Maya. "My friend Britney is a legit baking witch. Your cupcakes are basic. Fight me." I didn't think anything of it. It was just a cake. 2 days later, an email landed in the account I'd made just to apply for jobs. It was from a local event planner. Saw the cake on Maya's feed. "I have a client. Small anniversary party. They want that cake. Can you do it by next Friday? My budget is $300. $300. That was more than I made in a week of scrubbing toilets and washing pans. I almost said no. I lived above a bar. I shared a microwave with cockroaches. I was all hustle. No, infrastructure. Maya read the email over my shoulder. Don't be an idiot. Say yes. Figure it out later. So, I said yes. I spent 3 nights in Paul's kitchen. Fueled by stale coffee and terror. I delivered it in a cab I couldn't afford. The event planner handed me 3 crisp $100 bills. I walked out into the sunlight. It felt like a promotion. That night, I opened my stained notebook. On a fresh page, I wrote, "The Gilded Crumb." It wasn't a company. It was a dare. Momentum doesn't arrive like a lightning bolt. It shows up like a steady rain. Finding the same path down a window, until there's a groove. The Gilded Crumb became my life. I rented a small, shared commercial kitchen space, with the money I'd saved. No more hiding in Paul's bakery. He just grunted when I told him. Said, "About time. You were wasting my scraps." It was the nicest thing he'd ever said. Orders trickled in. Then stacked. Local birthdays. Small office parties. I was one person. Doing the work of 5. Eating leftover buttercream for dinner, and sleeping in 4-hour shifts. That's when Ethan walked into the kitchen. He was there for a tasting for a client. Referred by the event planner, who gave me my first shot. He was tall, with a quiet smile, and eyes that actually listened. He ran a small food blog called Austin Bites. He didn't just taste the samples. He studied them. He asked about the cardamom. About how I got the buttercream so smooth. He looked at my rough sketches with a kind of care I wasn't used to. "You design like an architect," he said, tapping a drawing. "Most people just bake. You're building something." He blinked. "I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't fall over." He smiled. "That, too." He ordered a cake for his client. But he came back a week later with a camera. "I'm doing a series," he said, "on people who make things with their hands. We shoot it. Cut it. Give you the files. No charge. I think people should see how you work." I should have said no. I was allergic to attention. It still felt like a trap. But he had a kindness I wasn't afraid of. "Okay," I said. He spent an afternoon filming. He didn't make me perform. He just got close-ups of my hands piping. Of the steam rising from the ovens. Of the sketches pinned to my wall. He let the sound of the kitchen breathe. He titled the post, "The Baker Who Works in the Dark," and uploaded it to his blog. It got shared. Then it got shared again. By a national food account. The kind with millions of followers. My phone didn't just buzz. It screamed. It was a vibration that felt like the whole floor was shaking. The inbox, which used to get 2 emails a day, suddenly had 200. Orders. Questions. Praise from strangers in states I'd never visited. And then, one email made my stomach clench so hard, I thought I'd be sick. The subject line was, "Brand Collaboration Opportunity." It was from a woman named Emily. The email was slick. "Love your aesthetic. Britney, your story is so authentic. We'd love to talk about a brand partnership." I didn't recognize the name. I almost deleted it. But I scrolled down to the signature. Emily. PR manager. Linda, my mother's last name, Realty. My mother's firm. My blood went cold. I reread the sentence. I clicked the link. And there she was. A smiling picture of Emily on my mother's corporate website. Our newest addition. I sat there. On a flour sack. The sound of the industrial fridge humming. And for the first time, it all made sense. Attached to the email was a glossy PDF. An invitation. The Family and Friends Charity Gala. Hosted by my mother's firm. And on the event committee list. Her name, Rachel. My sister's name. They hadn't spoken to me in 3 years. Not one text. Not one call. I had been in the same city, scrubbing their toilets in their hotels, serving them coffee at their coffee shops. I was invisible. But now, a stranger with a camera had told them I was valuable. I finally understood. In a family like mine, you aren't a person. You're a reflection. You're a source of supply. When I was the girl at the airport curb with no suitcase, I was bad supply. I was a failure. A secret. A story to be hidden. But now that a food blog and 1,000 strangers had approved of me, I was good supply. I was a success story they could discover. I was something they could use. My mother hadn't found me. My sister didn't miss me. They had been alerted to a new asset. This email wasn't an apology. It was an acquisition. They weren't inviting me home. They were inviting me to be a talking point at their party. I didn't reply to the email. Not at first. The invitation sat on my kitchen counter for a week. A glossy piece of paper that felt heavier than all my baking sheets combined. "You going?" Maya asked, leaning on the steel table, stealing a piece of candied lemon. "I haven't decided." She snorted. "Liar, you're trying to decide how you're going. Are you going to show up humble? And quiet? And grateful? Like the little lost girl they found? Maybe. Here are 2 shorter, natural-sounding English versions that maintain the original meaning and emotional arc. Option 1. Focus on the entrance and exit. Slightly punchier. The night was my plot twist. Not a ghost story, as Ethan said. I deserve to narrate my own entrance. Not return as the girl they abandoned. I booked a subtle black Mercedes Power that whispers. My hands shook. Not from fear, but from the old habit of anticipating judgment. I wore a simple black dress. Not a gown. No flash. Just me. I wasn't running from anything. I was driving toward it. The moment I stepped into the gala, I knew it was my stage. My family mother Linda, father Thomas, and sister Rachel didn't recognize me until Rachel's smile froze. The silence was delicious. I walked straight past them to the bar. When my mother, Linda, finally approached, all forced pride and frantic clicking heels, I saw my chance. "Hello? Linda," I said, my voice steady. "Funny. You didn't find me until a food blogger did." Rachel, the golden child, hissed about me making a scene. I hit back with the only truth she understood. I remember. Charity. "Rachel, it used to look like $100 and a one-way bus ticket." The silence was complete. When the PR manager, Emily, swooped in, seeing my struggle as a mere narrative for profit, I set my glass down. "My work isn't available for your brand," I said. "And my story is not for sale." I turned to leave. My mother grabbed my arm, asking why I came, if only to ruin their night. I looked at her until she let go. "I just came to make sure I wasn't the one who disappeared." Walking out, the solid, expensive thunk of the car door shut out their noise. I deleted Emily's email. I realized survival isn't an act of hate. It's the courage to prune your own family tree. I drove not home, but to my new commercial kitchen. The Gilded Crumb. Maya and Ethan were there with tacos and cheap beer, my found family. I belonged here, in the smell of yeast and chocolate. I smiled, tied on my apron, and got back to work. Years later, with my own successful shop, I write a new list of goals. It's not about revenge, it's about living. This is my message to you, the black sheep. Your blood is not a cage. Your found family is the grand prize. Don't shrink yourself to fit their tiny, suffocating table. Go build a bigger one.